Yes, Team Cyprian, karibu tena, and today we have good news from Kenya High Court. And as usual, mnajua Kenya High Court is sternly called that minds common mwananchi. So as you all know, kuna MCA alikuwa abducted, hajawahi patikana. Today is the 16th day hajaweza kupatikana. Now the High Court imeorder IG Douglas Kanja to produce the missing MCA in 18 hours. Najua High Court imekuwa ikitetea sana mwananchi. Tumeona walisimamisha plani ya Adani, although sijui kama Ruto ataweza kutii masharti, but we hope ataenda kutimiza vile ameweza kuelezea. So I just want to read something here so that we can understand more about the abducted MCA. The High Court in Nairobi on Thursday summoned the Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, over the disappearance of a member of the Wajir County Assembly, Yusuf Ahmed. In its directive, the court ordered the police officer alongside the Director of Public Prosecution DPP, Renson Igonga, to produce the MCA or appear before in on September 27 to explain the lawmakers' whereabouts. The court order came days after the Law Society of Kenya (LSK) moved to court seeking its assistance to compel the police IG and the ODPP to provide details of the missing politician. Imagine mtu amemiss for 16 good days. Alafu ndio Kithure Kindiki anasema ati ajui anything. In this petition, the Law Society also demanded that the politician be released and made to appear before the court alongside the police force. The petitioners in their suit faulted the National Police Service (NPS) for failing to provide information regarding the disappearance of the focal politician. As you all know, hii Kenya ukiwa opposite, yani ukiongea vitu zenye zinaenda against the master, sasa we unakuwa abducted. So yani we pray for our life. Yani we are in our own country, but we don't have peace in our own country. We don't have freedom in our own country, just because there is a greedy person somewhere who wants to take over everything in this country. Just because there is someone who wants to be the king in this country. Just because there is someone who wants to be a dictator in this family, in this Kenya. And of which we Kenyans, we will never accept such a treatment, even mpaka kwa watu ambao ni leaders wamechaguliwa ku represent their own people. Right now is 16 days, hajaweza kupatikana yuko wapi. Ahmed was reportedly abducted by unknown people on September 13th while being driven through the Enterprise Road in Makadara sub-county at around 9 p.m. While narrating the ordeal, his family members alleged that the abductors took away with the registrator his phone to bar him from communicating with anyone. Following his abduction, his driver, who was spared by the assailants, rushed to the industrial police station and reported the murder, prompting an immediate probe. Prior to the petition by LSK, Yusuf's family, joined through with the Wajir County Assembly, also filed a suit demanding the immediate release of Ahmed, whose whereabouts are yet to be established. Wajir Speaker of the County Assembly, Abdil Yusuf, while commenting on the matter, alleged that activities at the County Assembly had immensely been hampered by Ahmed's abduction. Meanwhile, the MCA's family revealed that they had reported the matter to various police stations, but no information about the lawmakers' whereabouts was provided. And mark you guys, huyu MCA alikuwa ameitwa na security agents. After 2 days, akaenda disappearing, akakuwa abducted. Badala wangemngojea basi wamemsummon kuja mpaka kwa security office, you have questions to answer, hawakumpatia time afika aseme kwamba amekataa, wakamabduct. Why should you abduct someone when you know you have summoned that person to appear before you? Why abduct someone who is focal? Why abduct someone mwenye anatumikia wananchi? Those are the kind of leadership, these are the kind of leaders we want, ambao they value common mwananchi. But now the master wants to eliminate everyone. Na hiyo ndio Kenya tumesema kwamba vijana tuamke. Tusipoamka Kenya itauza tukiangalia. The latest court directives comes a day after members of the National Assembly called on the Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki to expedite the matter and ensure the MCA are failed. Now, Guys, you can imagine Kithure Kindiki alikuwa anasema yeye hajui anything like huyu MCA alikuwa someone, and this is Kenya. Yani mimi sometimes huwa nashangaa hawa leaders wanatuona aje mpaka kiasi ya kwamba wanatuona atujijui, atujielewi. Yani wameabduct someone and they're outside there saying sisi hatujamuita, sisi hatujafanya sijui nini. Who does that? Why should they do something like that? This is something ni pigo kwa watu wa wadi yake, because yani unapoangalia familia inapolilia mpendo wao hawajui kwenye hapo. Hakuna mtu anawaambia kwamba mtu wenu ako hapa ama hayuko pale. Na government imeambiwa basi kama si nyinyi mko na yeye, mbona mjeweza kujitokeza wasi mseme kwamba sisi huyu mtu ambaye mnasema ndio tuko na yeye hatujui mahali hapo, but wanaendelea kupenda excuses zenye haziko. Yani even the leaders wakati walikuwa wanaulizia Kithure Kindiki, you can feel the pain yenye wana feel. You can, like there is a woman here who was asking him, basi mbona security agents wasitueleze kwamba hayuko huko ndio tukae tukijua kwamba hayuko. Nilimhurumia sana, nikahurumia watoto wake, familia yake, and you all know ukipoteza mtu wa familia ama haujui kwenye hapo, vile wewe mwenyewe unaweza sikia vibaya. Our leaders sometimes wanapendanga yani kutufanya pressure zetu ziinuke kabisa. Why should they do this to someone who is a father, who is a brother, who is a son to someone? The pain the family wanapitia, nani atawakompensate? Imagine for 16 days aujui mtu wenu yuko wapi, wewe uko hapo, ujui utafuti wapi, simu yake imezimwa, government ndio hii wanasema kwamba wao hawajui. Basi kama hawajui na alikuwa someone, alienda wapi? Mbona nini serikali haijaweza kumtafuta? Because huyo ni mtu ambaye amechaguliwa na Wakenya. Just because ako the opposite way, that's why anapelekwa venye anapelekwa, because yeye kila wakati anasimama na wananchi. Sasa the master ataki hivyo kuona Mkenya yote ama any leader anasimama na Wakenya. Na that's why we are saying come 2027 tutachagua wale viongozi ambao watatetea haki za wananchi, wala viongozi ambao wanajua Wakenya kwamba we deserve good health, good roads, good hospitals and schools. But now the master ashatuma, unaona maudhi wake, puppets wake wako pale kwa mtandao kusema it's a done deal, it's worth this. You leaders, you think power is temporary. And trust me, you people, you are going to come outside here, mtakuwa tu kama sisi wananchi. And most of you mnasahau kile mnafanyia Wakenya sasa hivi, hata nyinyi sometimes kitakuja kuwatendekea. Msione kwamba mko kwa power like hakuna mtu anaweza kawaguza. God is going to bring something yenye itawa bring down. Just work for Kenyan people. Stop killing innocent Kenyans. Stop abducting people. If someone akona opinion tofauti, why should you abduct me? Why should you abduct someone because I'm a different na your opinion? We have freedom of speech in this country, freedom of expression in this country, but I don't know why our president is like ataki kuona mtu ambaye anamcriticize. Sometimes they usually say, mtu akikukriticize, it means or she means good for you. Kama mtu amekukriticize, mahali amekukriticize, endo urekebishe, ujue usema aje, hapa ameniambia hivi na anafaa kufanya hivi. Sometimes critics zinatusaidia, at least we know mahali tumekosea. Hata sisi tunakuwa criticized, ndio tunajua mahali tumekosea, so next time we are not going to repeat the same mistake. So please, can you provide the MCA ambaye muliweza kuabduct? Guys, let's listen to what our cheerleaders had to say. Thank you so much. See you in our next video.
Waziri, we all understand that security is very dynamic, very complex, and highly sensitive. That notwithstanding, this is the 16th day an elected leader is missing. We all understand, Waziri, Kenya is a member, a responsible member of the international community. And over the years, we have prided ourselves as a security hub, as a conferencing hub, as leading everything. But we are forgetting that in this era, we have social media as one of the emerging arms of government. And this is the reality. We have lived with the three traditional arms. The first arm, you may not agree because you are a member of the executive, is parliament, the legislature. The executive and the judiciary. Right now, we have the social media effect, we have the NGO community, and many other imagined arms of government. What I really don't understand is not understanding the definitional issue. In my mind, as a leader who has been around, I don't know whether I have your attention, sorry. In my mind, as a leader who has been around, who's familiar with the modus operandi, even modus vivendi of our security agencies, which you had. You are the civilian face of the Homeland Security. When such a high profile, me I'm persuaded is abduction, and it can have two faces. When we have put all these efforts to project Kenya, to promote Kenya, locally, regionally, internationally, and even our forces are there in Haiti. Why is Haiti there in that state? Because of the effects of goonism and gangsters and everything else that the administration then failed to act on. Is it what is happening in Kenya right now? A step towards that direction. Because a leader has been abducted, a leader is missing, to use the police word. A leader cannot be accounted for, yet to date, other than the mere OP acknowledgement in Makadara police station, we are yet to see a high-level response from the security agencies. That compounds the challenge in this era, Waziri, of constitutional accountability, adherence to the rule of law, and accountability. You have used the word constitutional accountability. By now, we expected that every day we'll be getting progress report. I do not want to downplay the comment that you have made, that you're making some progress and therefore you'll issue a comprehensive test, because we also understand that sometimes some of these things require a lot of delicate handling. But what compounds, Waziri, put yourself in the shoes of the voters of that elected representative, the family, the relatives, his representative who is talking to you. No statement, nothing, business as usual, nothing is happening. So Waziri, I want to give you lead questions, which you also understand. On 6 August, this particular state officer, leader, was summoned by the County Security Committee Wajir. For whatever reason, I learned this recently. And they have every right to interact with everybody. The same person, on 10th September, the entire Homeland Security heads were also in Wajir. On 11th September, the gentleman traveled to Nairobi. On 13th, he went missing. He was abducted. The venue, the location, it's as a result of our collective efforts that we have CCTVs everywhere. This honorable member called for the service of an Uber driver. He has made a statement, he has made an affirmation on, under, oath, which I also tabled through the chairman before the House. So Waziri, and I know you are a lawyer, an astute lawyer, criminal responsibility is individual. I do not want to delve into that. But equally, we must also be accountable to the due process of law. That due process of law is what we are questioning. I want to plead with you. And I will say this without fear, without favor, without any contradiction, without an iota of doubt. And you know, I'm an old, seasoned, experienced legislator, and I've been around. If this particular leader has committed any crime, he's supposed to be before a court of law, not in detention, not in the name of abduction. What you have done, the achievements that you have made over the last 2 years as the substantive CS internal security, for those of us who have been around, is commendable. But some of these silly actions, you can call them rowdy officers, overzealous officers, you can call them of lack of whatever name that you call them, completely destroys that big image that you have been trying to build. And I am also alive to the sensitivity and the challenge that sometimes you go through. So I want to plead with you as we wait for that comprehensive response. If it was in other jurisdictions, you know it. By now, an elected missing, some people will have taken responsibility, personal responsibility. It has two aspects. Assume even in the worst case scenario, which is not in this case, that he has been abducted by criminal elements. Do you want to say that Kenya is a banana republic? Why are these criminal elements who have been abducting people, and so many people have been released, why are they not being taken into court? Waziri, you understand this. Me and you have gone to the same university. You understand this. That is not one of the tenets that we have been taught. It is not. It's completely outside that. Can this... You know, by now I think you are familiar with our culture. I have the entire community in Nairobi. So you can also imagine the burden. The entire community, because their leader is missing. I have to recharge my telephones every second, every minute, because of the calls. I have nothing to say. In fact, the assumption is, because I'm an experienced legislator and I've been around, I can talk to all of you and say, yes, I've talked to all of you. Everybody's in denial. What message will I say? So I want to plead with you. Whoever is holding this guy, and they know where they are, and please, wherever you are, you know yourselves. Release this MCA.
That's okay, Allow
me, Chairman, this.
Yeah, but
release this MCA. If you have evidence enough that can warrant him, just like we have alluded, because all of us are accountable to the rule of law. That's what separates us. Take him to court. Thank you, Wazir.
Okay, kindly members, I want to guide us this. I think the CS had actually asked that we give time to give more updated and comprehensive response, latest. I appreciate the reasons and the ground why, of course, you need to say something, but maybe just to reinforce or the plea and what the Mheshimiwa Kenani is saying, I will give the two members briefly just to say something to the CS.
Thank you,
I
Chair.
understand.
Yes, and it's only fair that you give us a few minutes, Chair, and I appreciate that. Waziri, today, honestly, I'm not in the mood. Not just because I want it, because an MCA, an elected leader from my county, has been missing for the past 15 days. Today being 16th day. You mentioned you are not aware of the case. There's a communication from your office that we got through the chair on 24th that indeed the matter is under investigation. It's now 2 days since we got that investigation. And as a professor of law, the whole time you've been educating us on law, on how to safeguard the Constitution. From where I sit, I feel like we are applying the law, or we are implementing the Constitution selectively. When an elected leader is missing for the 16th day, don't you think he has all the rights to live? Don't you think as an elected member of parliament, he needs to be, he needs to be implementing and, doing the work he was elected for? That is something as a lawyer I want to understand. Two, Bwana Waziri, you said you don't want us to do abductions. Without an iota of doubt, I want to categorically say the government of Kenya is abducting the citizens of this country. Why I say that?
Kindly. You know, you can only say that if you can substitute that.
I'm going there, Chair.
Kindly, you know the procedures.
Okay.
So withdraw that one, and you are very smart in this letter.
As I withdraw, Chair, let me just finish the statement. I say that because this honorable member, Mr. Waziri, got a summon from the security agencies. 2 days later, he's abducted. Any person who thinks will add, the tabulations that indeed it's the security agencies. If indeed it's not the security agencies, Mr. Waziri, how hard is it for the security agencies to come and say we don't have this gentleman, Mr. Waziri? My other question is, if an elected member of parliament can be abducted, how safe are we as the citizens? Personally, because of the things I've been doing and going through the meetings in search of the honorable member, I feel threatened, to be honest. I don't know whether I'm safe as an elected member of parliament because of the things and the meetings we go. Honorable Kenan mentioned how my community works. The entire county is in Nairobi. It's expensive for us to maintain them. We don't sleep in our houses, Mr. Waziri. We are running from one place to another. At one point, if I take you to my house, more than 50 people are in the house because of the elected member. Mr. Waziri, I feel very, miserable that the people who elected me right now, who feel I can bring the elected MCA by just advocating and talking in parliament, that nothing can be heard, nothing can be done. Mr. Waziri, to be honest, I feel like we are in a failed state. When you take an elected member, he's a human being, he can do anything. Why do we have the courts? Why do we have the Constitution? You are a professor of law, Mr. Waziri. We are not happy from where we sit, even as a country, from Wajir, Mr. Waziri. Waziri, lastly, you said you initially started by condoling the extrajudicial killing and abductions. We want, when you say something, we mean it as a country. At the end of the day, the people who elected us are the people we work for. We will not support if they have done something wrong, Waziri. The entire Wajir country, from all the 6 constituencies today, are all out in demonstrating in the streets of Wajir, besides the government refusing to give them permit. We will not allow, Mr. Waziri. We will not allow our elected members to be disappearing. Then there's no need of us being elected in the first place. We rather stay home. We rather have a lawless country, Mr. Waziri. Okay. You are the Waziri I respect. I have a lot of regards for you. We want our honorable member back. We want our son back. We are not asking for much. He is in the hands of the security agencies. I don't know how to put more than that.
Thank you, Honorable Fatuma. I think you've been heard very well and clear. Vice Chair, Defense.
Thank you.
Henry, maybe try
Chairman, I left a meeting of defense, and we adjourned that meeting, so Waziri will not be meeting us. We are adjourned for another day. Waziri, I want to echo my colleagues, Honorable Kenan and Honorable Fatuma, on this matter. Really, it's a painful situation as it is. When we talk about the police, where say we are not aware of this MCA, then it comes to our mind: do we have a gang that can really abduct an elected leader for 16 days, and the police are not really aware? And Honorable Kenan actually mentioned that, look, we are supporting Haiti on matters of dealing with gangs. And yet here we have a leader that is being abducted and we don't know where it is. And from where I sit, I know what is happening is that he is under the security agencies. The only thing is that because you are a professor of law and 24 hours has passed, now the issue of saying how do we hold him for this number of days is also coming up. In my place, in my concert quarters, Ramo, there was a demonstration because his siblings and his parents come from my place, even though they represent somewhere in Wajir. We are ready to forgive the security agencies for holding him for all this number of days. Please let him be released. It's unfortunate. When I looked at the statement yesterday, and I contributed in the House, and I said, this is a shallow statement, just because you are not aware of the statement yourself. It didn't come through you. I look at the statements of the other responses. It's signed by Professor Kindiki. The other one, the one for the MCA Dela, is not signed by Professor Kindiki, and it's true, we are not aware. That shows that we are not putting efforts about this MCA. Here we are talking about insecurity, cattle rustling, ABCD. We have a leader who is missing for 16 days. My plea is that let us release this MCA. Whether abducted by whoever, it doesn't matter. The Kenyan security agencies have capacity to find out where he is, whether by themselves or by other gangs. So my plea, I repeat, is that let us find where the MCA is. I know there's an issue of 24 hours has lapsed. We have held him for all this number of days. There's issue of all these things are coming up. I know, but what I'm trying to tell you is that he has been held. I've been in the security industry myself. I worked with Kanoraso, and we have done some operations even before. We know. Let them release this MCA. Later, they can decide to take him to court or so. It doesn't matter. But the family is at pains. So mine is just to input that comment, and please take it serious. Even as you say that you want to do a statement later, let the statement come later, release him. You know where he is. You can
Thank
confirm.
you. That is okay, Bashir. Lastly,
thank you, Chairman. I just want to be very brief, Waziri. In the last administration, two of my constituents are still missing. They were elders from Boran and Gabra communities. And their families are going through very painful experience. Coming from a security background, I personally feel the issues of abduction to enforce the law or extrajudicial killing will not help Kenya to maintain peace and harmony. It is a very weak system because it undermines intelligence, it undermines information. There are so many things it undermines. And I think the best thing to happen, if anybody is seen to be breaking the law, they must have their day in court. The intelligence system, investigative agencies must cobble together as much information as possible so that people like leaders, let them be arrested in a decent manner. But I think what is slowly happening, if in case this particular individual is being held by the security agencies, it's a very weak form of enforcing the law. And I think we, as administration under President Ruto, many of us who are in that administration and supporting it, I think we would not wish to go that route. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Chair.